Hello, and thanks again for joining us for another Fathom Live, a live stream show dedicated to giving you tips and insights from experts in and around the real estate industry. I'm your grateful host, Jeff Sturt. So glad to be with you today. A couple shows ago, we had Evan Lyon on from Zillow, and she was talking about how you as an individual agent can take advantage of a lot of stuff that they have on their platform, including a lot of free stuff to help build your online identity and brand. And so had a lot of great stuff, but we also announced in that show that we would be following up with her to do a panel discussion with some of our agents who are currently using Zillow, but in a team format. And so this is for you if you're not familiar with Zillow and you just want to be informed about what they offer for you as a team. A lot of our agents use them for another revenue stream. So we always advise our agents, if you have a good lead source, find a second one. That way you've got multiple sources of leads, and Zillow just happens to be one of those for a fair amount of our agents as well. So anyways, we're so excited to have Evan on here. But first, if you get to commenting both on YouTube and Facebook, then I said we're glad to have Evan. We're glad to have Evan, Freddie, Tiffany, and Kendra on. We've got 4 plus me on today. But if you get to commenting on Facebook and YouTube, you are automatically entered into a drawing to win one of 4 prizes. You can win a yard sign package, a photo listing package, an on-target transaction, or a Go Social Leads service package, all valued up to $200. So that's something that you can take advantage of if you win. So comment, give us a shout out, share the show. If you share the show, you're also entered as well. And if you haven't hit the notification bell on YouTube, do that as well. That way you know when we're going live, and you get that on your phone or whatever device you're on. If you haven't checked them out, check out Go Social Agent. They are an affordable and effective social media marketing solution to help agents grow their business, including helping you get your account set up. Sometimes that's just a challenge itself, making sure that it looks nice and it's optimized for how your business page is set up to attract people, to attract potential clients. They do automated postings, agent-branded articles, so articles with your name that shows up in a sidebar on a landing page with Houseopedia. They do buyer and seller handbooks. They'll help you run Facebook ad campaigns. So if you're just not a social media person and you want to hand it off to somebody else to keep that regular sort of presence in front of your sphere, they're a great people to get in contact with. So head over to GoSocialAgent.com. You can also check out our show from our last show with David Knox. It is packed. If you know anything about David Knox, you're guaranteed to have it packed. It's packed with a whole lot of great tips and advice for really just getting your business cooking with gas. So we have Evan here with us. We're going to bring her on to begin with, just to talk a little bit about what is offered for you as a team leader and teams, and then we'll bring on the rest of the crew. Evan, so glad to have you back. And by the way, we're coast to coast today because you're out in Charlotte. We've got people here in the Midwest, Texas area, and then we've got Freddie out in California. We should have gotten somebody from Denver or something like that, so we could have had every time zone
should
on.
Have.
But why don't you go ahead and kick us off here with just kind of giving us an overview of Zillow for teams.
Yes, and thank you for having me back. I guess that means I behaved myself, considering I've been involved.
It was very informative. It was a good show, yeah.
Great. So last time, in case you missed it, if you want to go back and watch, we talked about all the free ways to take advantage of Zillow. And that included creating a profile, making sure that you have your reviews, showing up on the agent finder, all of that cool stuff. But today, we're going to talk about the paid for products that Zillow has to offer. And again, this is just one avenue. I do not get any commission for these sales. I wish I did. So I'm not here to sell you. I'm here to really turn it over to 3 of your agents to talk about how they've used Zillow, what they found success doing, maybe some things that they did that they wish they could go back and do over again differently if they were doing Zillow for the first time, and just how to convert any online lead, not just a Zillow online lead. So they've graciously been here today. We have Kendra, we have Tiffany, we have Freddie from all over, all Fathom agents, and they're going to talk for the majority of the time. But before we jump into that, I just wanted to take a few minutes to talk about what's new with the Zillow Premier Agent platform. Because for those of you who maybe tried this a couple years ago, even a year and a half ago, we've made some pretty drastic changes, I think, to the positive. that helps you out, that helps drive a higher return on investment, but also helps just connect you and cement the relationship that you guys are having with the customer and the consumer that you find on Zillow. So the entire reason, I know I'm not everyone's favorite person in a room because I work for Zillow, and I will take that. But
Well,
I think
our
that,
agents are making money through your platform, so we're very happy for you to inform us of some things.
yeah.
So
And
go
and
for it.
honestly, we understand. I mean, realtor.com, homes.com, us, there's all the referral programs. There's tons of different ways to get online leads, and we are by no means saying that we're the only way to do that. I just want to make sure that everyone understands that. But you guys have a lot of agents that are really utilizing Zillow to drive margins to their business. And the three agents that we have on today, not only are they rock stars on the profit side of it, but they're also delighting our consumers because they're giving them a 90+ customer satisfaction score.
Great.
For those that didn't get to watch last time, that means that they're in the top 10% of agents in the country. Not about, conversion, but in regards to treating the customer and giving them an amazing experience that is done on our platform through a survey after we connect them. So
Go
kudos to all the
Fathom.
agents
Yeah,
today.
great,
Yeah.
great. Thank you. Oh, and I will
Yeah.
mention, just as a heads up to get ahead of this, if you guys watching got questions, ask them on here. What we might do is kind of save them towards the end or for maybe a break. I'm not sure, but I'll be monitoring those, and so you can kind of hear the discussion. But if you have questions for Evan, if you've got questions for our agents, go ahead and ask them. Don't ask me questions. I don't know anything, but ask them how they're using it this way or that way. I'll be monitoring those. So go ahead and this is interactive. So back to you, Evan.
Thanks, Jeffrey. So quickly, I just wanted to also say, we talked about last time, any questions that you have, you can submit them. I did get quite a few questions. So, Jeffrey, correct me if I'm wrong, but is there still the link down below this that will be posted if they do have questions?
Yes, I believe so. If not, we
Okay.
can put it in the comments.
Okay.
I think we had it on our last show. I'm not.
Okay.
We'll have to take.
That's
Why
fine.
Don't do that to me. I don't
Okay,
know.
so sorry.
I don't know.
All right, so let's get back to the talk track. So last time we talked
Okay.
about we have a massive audience. We have 190 million unique users come to our website a month. To put that into perspective, that's more than half the U.S. population coming to the Zillow site at least once a month. Usually when they come to Zillow, they come back 22 times to look at 77 homes, and that's on a 30-day average.
Yeah, wow.
So that's quite a bit. 40% of those people that come to Zillow, they are looking to buy or sell in the next 12 months. So as the three agents that we're going to talk to in just a minute can account for, the people that come to Zillow, they're all in different stages. Some of them are very far down the funnel. Some of them are very high in the funnel. But I think what this pandemic and Corona has done to the real estate industry is it's kind of created this great reshuffling. So a lot of people that once lived in urban cities, like such as me, New York, that wanted to move to more suburban areas like Charlotte, or, I think the statistics are saying the biggest cities that people are relocating to is Atlanta, Charlotte, California, even Philadelphia. But people want yards and they want to get out and they want more space. And because of that, we're seeing a really highly engaged consumer. And we're trying to connect that consumer with really great agents. So the more great agents that you guys have that come on our platform, the more we benefit. So that's really why I wanted to turn on the lights to 3 of the new features that we have on Zillow that are fairly new. Yeah. So the first one is Live Connections. Live Connections has been a part of the Premier Agent platform for a while, but here as of recent, the way that works is when a consumer goes online and they fill out that form and they want to be contacted by an agent, we then call that consumer back and get them on the phone and make sure that they actually want to be transferred to an agent. And then we will live transfer them to a Kendra or Tiffany or Freddie, one of our premier agents that are advertising. And I think that really helps on a couple different levels. For the consumer, maybe a consumer just had a question about a house and they're not ready to talk to an agent and they fill out that form. We're saving the agent a lot of time from trying to reach out to that consumer again and again and again.
When it's just a tire kicker.
Correct. Yeah. Yep. So that's one of the things that we do. And then the second new feature is called My Agent. So My Agent is to cement the relationship. So after this connection over to an agent, What we don't want to happen is for that consumer to log back onto Zillow, let's say in 3 days from now, and you transfer it to another agent and confuse the consumer and then also confuse the agent who's been working with that consumer. So what we do now is after we transfer that consumer live, we create the My Agent relationship. It's kind of like sending a friend request through Facebook. You just send it to the consumer after you speak with them. And once you solidify that relationship, every single time that you go back to Zillow as a consumer, you're going to see the agent that you're working with that we've already connected you with.
That
so
way
now
people
you
aren't
basically
hopping from agent to agent.
Correct.
Very good.
And it's branding. I mean, you have exclusive branding on the largest real estate site in the country. So that's another huge, huge benefit of being a Premier Agent now. And then the third thing that I really want to talk about is the AI. So our artificial intelligence technology that we've invested in the past couple years tracks the buyers and sellers when they're looking. So when I was looking 6 months ago, I'm a sucker for white brick, a back porch, white kitchen, I think, along with most people right now searching for homes. But what it started to do is to formulate, okay, these are the things that Evan likes when she's looking on Zillow. Let's push more homes to her that look like that. So I was getting more homes on my feed with white kitchens and white brick. And I didn't really understand that it was doing that, but I was seeing more homes that were being emailed to me. That was exactly what I was looking for. Mm-hmm. And then at the bottom of all of those emails that our AI division is researching and pushing to the consumer, the agent's branding is there. So instead of it just being Zillow at the bottom, it says,
Gotcha.
Kendra or Tiffany or Freddie, and then their contact information. So it's just a lot of products and features working for you. We do that automatically for the agents. It's not something they have to go in and do. So again, just more resources, just more products to help the agents.
Appreciate you going over those things. So that was news to me. I didn't know about those particular features. So, all right. Yeah. Do we want to jump in with the agents, or did you have any other features that you wanted to talk about?
No, that's it for me. Let's get to the good stuff. Let's talk to them.
I'm not sure how to do this. I think I just need to clap my hands. There it is. It worked. All right. So we've got everybody on here. Guys, thank you so much. I know this took a little bit of coordination to get you all on, but each of you guys are using Zillow quite a lot in your business. So Evan, if you want to kind of kick off then the questions as far as exploring that with them, go for it.
Yeah, definitely. So I think I just want to start by each of you introducing yourself, saying where you're from, and saying how long that you've been a Premier Agent. And lastly, I know this is a lot, but how many people are on your team? So if it's just you or you have a team of people. Tiffany, you want to start?
Sure. Yeah, I am in the Dallas-Fort Worth area in Texas, mainly in the Denton-Aubrey 380 area. I have been a Zillow Premier Agent, I think a year next month, which is when I started our team, Bachman Realty Group. And right now we have 5 full-time agents and 2 part-time agents, along with myself. Those are my buyers agents.
Great. How about you, Kendra?
I am Kendra Townsend, and I'm in the San Antonio, Texas area. I have been a Premier Agent for about a year now, I think. And my team is kind of non-conventional or unconventional. It's me and my partner, but we really function independently, and we just partner together more for when we do client appreciation events and stuff like that. And then we do have a team of ISAs that answer the phone for us.
And then Freddie?
Yes, I'm in Palm Springs area, California, and my team is pretty much 5 active agents, virtual assistant, and someone that I just hired as being a team support manager in a way, / a lot of other stuff.
Jack of all trades.
Yep.
Great. So the second question I kind of wanted to dive into is tell us about why you chose Zillow, if you tested other lead generation platforms, or maybe you're on several of them today, but why Zillow works for you over some of the others. I guess we'll go in that same order. Tiffany, if you guys want to kick it off.
So we started with Real Geeks, which is similar to Boomtown. I was on a top producing team before I left and came to Fathom and started my own team. And Boomtown was one of their main platforms, and it just didn't seem like they converted very well. And we do Real Geeks, and our conversion rate, I mean, our return of investment is pretty good, but the conversion rate's not nearly as high. Those are more nurture leads. And then as far as Zillow goes, it's kind of been the backbone to our business this year. We started our team in September with just 2 agents, and we've continued to grow. But we're helping them with, as far as the leads go, helping them, make more money, meet new people, and then those are starting to turn into referrals as well.
Great. Really quick follow-up question there. So I know that you said trying to find more agents. What is the right agent that you feel like is right to work as a Zillow lead?
Well, so we've probably interviewed 40 agents since I started my team in September. We're more of like a family-based team, to where I want everyone to get along and have a great personality, things like that. But as far as Zillow goes, we want to make sure they're confident, they're knowledgeable, they're trustworthy. And then our Zillow rep's amazing, and she always does training. Like we did an hour training with her this morning before, as a team, before we jumped on this call, and just to make sure they're very personable and they're comfortable on the phone, and they can do whatever they can to set the appointment right away.
Great. Kendra, what about you? Tell us why you chose Zillow, and what's the right type of agent you think for Zillow leads?
Okay. So before I came to Fathom, I was on a team, and my partner and I, they used Boomtown as well. But when we left, Boomtown was just so expensive. There was just no way we were going to do Boomtown. But we tried other platforms. We tried something called Zirple. We tried Realtor.com. We tried Homes.com and HomeLight. And converting and talking to people is easy for us. She and I were both psychologists for 10 years before we became realtors. So talking to people, is no big deal, but the quality of those leads that were coming in through those sites weren't great. And we heard all of these horrible things about Zillow, so, we just stayed away from Zillow for so long. But then when we branched out on our own, we were kind of, honestly just like, well, we've tried everything else. Why not Zillow?
Right.
And I absolutely love Zillow. Zillow was one of the best, decisions that we ever made. We do want to expand, so we do want to grow. And in thinking about the kind of buyer's agent that we would like for our team to work Zillow leads, we do want to foster that kind of family atmosphere as well. We need somebody who's going to be confident, somebody who can work with objections, because buyers and internet leads are great with all the objections. So you have to be able to overcome those objections.
Right.
And people who are good with follow-up. Because, once they're done with you, they'll move on to lots of other things. So follow up and being consistent is really important, and just being genuine, coming off as you really care, that they're not just another number. So when we get off the phone, we text them from our personal numbers as well. I send a picture of my business card. It's just going that little extra mile. So those are the kind of agents that we would want.
Right. And to kind of dive a little bit deeper into one of your answers, you said you love Zillow, but is there a specific thing that you like about Zillow, or is it because it's a different type of consumer, or why do you think Zillow leads are better than some of the other platforms that you tried?
What I really like about Zillow is kind of the exclusivity of the lead, like you were talking about with the My Agent app. So once that lead gets transferred over to me and I solidify that relationship, there's not going to be 50 other agents also calling them. And that was the problem I was having with Realtor.com or some of the other places. They'd be like, oh yeah, 5 other agents have also contacted me. And even if you call them 10 seconds after you get the call, somebody else a lot of times beat you to it already. So what I really like about Zillow is once they've talked to me, I'm the only person that they're going to see. And I really like the live connection phone calls too. If you can get that person on the phone, that just solidifies that relationship a little bit stronger than just text message or email.
Agreed. Okay, Freddie, we saved you for last. What do you like about Zillow, and why did you choose it over some of the other lead generation platforms? Because I think you've been with us the longest in terms of being a premier agent.
Yeah, I think I'm probably, I'm gonna estimate. I haven't looked into it, but probably 6.
Okay. Oh, sorry. No, go ahead, Freddie. Sorry.
So probably six plus year, probably could be even 10 years with Zillow. Everything started. I remember. I'm not going to say the conference that I went to, but they started talking about the importance of reviews. So I started creating a lot of reviews on Zillow. I think my team and I, we probably have about 204 as of today reviews.
Wow.
So I started putting reviews on Zillow, and I noticed that I was getting people calling me, and now even being a premier agent. So I did like you ladies, I tested homes.com, realtor.com, and they didn't work. So at that point, I kind of figured out, okay, this thing is gonna be like test and drive to see who's the best and who's the worst one. And Zillow kind of worked for me. It has worked for us really well. I like the fact that we always get leads and they're exclusive. And if you're a good following up, I always tell my team, the leads are gonna be as good as the follow up. So, but I think for us, the fact that we have a lot of reviews, it helps us a lot as well, because when we talk to people, a lot of times I always ask them, either listing or buyer, did you check a review? They're like, oh yeah, I already check you who you are, everything, and that helps a lot. So that's how we started, and that's how we are still up to today. Zillow's still paying, it's making sense.
What's the secret sauce there? Because I know a lot of agents, they have a hard time collecting reviews, and it's not easy to do. I understand it's something that you're asking the consumer to go back and do. So how are you able to get so many of the consumers that you work with to go on and write you a review?
Well, for us, I think, you have to you gotta bring your proposition value right up front. A lot of people think that you're there only to sell them the property. I always tell them, first of all, is to earn their business, and I break down everything that I'm gonna be expecting from them, and what is they gonna get from me. So right up front, I always tell them, I'm here obviously for review, for referrals and reviews. And I learned that there's a huge difference of asking and coaching people. By the time that they're done, they already know what to do. So that has helped us a lot. When we ask, a lot of times, they just do it. A lot of them, they flake because they get too busy and everything, but we still follow up after that. And we kind of feel like we earned the right at that point, because they already knew what to expect from us.
Right. Yeah, thank you for that. Great point. So my next question, and then I'll go back to Tiffany on this one. Several of you have lenders who are helping with your advertising on Zillow, and they're featured on the profile. Will you talk to us a little bit about how you go about finding that lender, the conversation there, and the benefit for the lender to partner with you on that?
But first I wanted to add to what Freddie was saying. We have about 150 reviews, and not only does it help us convert more on Zillow, it also helps us convert a lot more on Facebook. So even though those are free leads, because you're collecting a lot of reviews on the Zillow webpage. So every time I get a Facebook post or a message or a tag on a mom's page or something like that, I directly send them my Zillow reviews, where we have over 150 right now. And so that in itself, and I always say, make sure to interview 2 or 3 agents and read the reviews, do the shopping, all of that stuff. So I feel like even with the reviews on Zillow, it can also lead to leads in other routes in life as well. So partnership with the lender, I feel like I've worked really hard to build our team's reputation on customer service and client satisfaction. So we have 3 different lenders that we partner with right now that help with the budget. All of them are very good with customer service, returning phone calls, hitting their deadlines, things like that, because it's a team effort. Because if you refer, a client, a lender, and they drop the ball or something happens, that kind of goes against your reputation too. And even though it's not your fault, the client's like, well, you referred them. So you have to have a lot of trust with the lenders, but we have 3 that we partner with, and their return of investments are pretty high as well, just like our teams.
Hey, Evan, if I can just jump in here real quick, and maybe this is just for, I'm going to kind of be the ignorant agent or the newer agent or whatever. If I'm understanding your question correctly, then some of our teams here, or all of our teams, they partner with a lender to help fund the lead cost that Zillow would charge.
Yes.
Okay, that's what. Okay, I just want to make sure that's understood.
So even RESPA compliancy, we make sure that we're RESPA compliant, but they can come on and sponsor up to 50% of the advertising bill. So if an agent's spending $2,000, they can cut the agent's advertising bill down to $1,000, and they're featured on the agent's profile. but it's really just a partnership. I think Freddie talks really well about this as well, along with Kendra and Tiffany. It's more just a partnership that you're forming with them. It's not just for Zillow. It's just a partnership in general. But they have some really strong talk tracks on, how they've gotten lenders to be sponsors.
Great. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that was, clear to
No
our viewers
problem.
who were unfamiliar with that kind of model.
Should have started with that.
Once we showed them our numbers and how productive we were being, they're like, oh, agents that have asked us in the past for help, their numbers aren't like that. And so I think it's that trust and accountability and keeping track of your numbers. And it's a win-win for everyone because we're profitable from it and we're saving money by having lenders help us with the budget, and they're being profitable as well.
Yeah, and Kendra, you do the same, right? You approached a lender who had sponsored someone on Zillow before, and that agent didn't necessarily convert. But then you were able to show them your numbers, and they were like, yes, we will sign up for that. Correct?
Yeah, so the lender that I have that sponsors mine, I actually worked with before I was ever a Zillow Premier agent. So I was already giving this person deals. And when I decided to do Zillow, I wanted to make sure I was closing enough with Zillow first before I approached, my lender. And when I did approach him, he was like, look, I've done the Zillow thing with about 4 other agents before. We've never closed anything. It's just been a waste of money. And I said, well, look, I can show you my numbers. And he was like, you've actually closed something with Zillow? I was like, dude, Zillow is like awesome. Yeah. And so I was able to show him what I close every month from Zillow. And so it was kind of a no-brainer for him. He makes his investment back, multiple times over. So I think it was about showing the lender, the value of it before just, approaching with, hey, can you, support me with Zillow? How many of you closed? Well, none yet, but I'm hopeful. So I think if you, it was easier to do it because I had already closed, so many with Zillow.
Great. Thank you. And then Freddie, I know that you had some good notes about this when we talked the other day. So how do you approach a lender, and what does it look like for you?
Well, you know what, I as I said before, I don't think any vendor should be asking for business. I think everyone should earn it because that's what we do every day. So every time that I have a lender asking me, can we work together? I always tell them what is that you have to offer, and that is pretty much how I end up with the lender that I am right now. They get a lot of business from us, so it will be fair to invest as well with us. So that's how we've been working on it, and I'm always welcome to work with any lender, any vendor at all. But I just want to make sure that they provide something back because we obviously provide them a lot of business, a lot of opportunities. So it's just fair, I think, that it works both ways. We want them to be successful, but they have to help us as well. So it has to be a win-win.
Yep, I totally agree. So before we get into numbers, and I know we're not gonna give everyone's detailed numbers because I know sometimes that can be too much too soon. But what I do want to talk about is, many of you did not start out with large budgets regarding advertising. I think all of you really kind of dipped your toes in the sand or the water. I don't really know the saying there, one of the two. Anyway, so can you guys talk about that? Like when you started and how quickly you ramped up your advertising budget there?
I can. So I'm very frugal. I'm very cheap. Ask my husband. He's pretty much taken over our marketing budget. I always tell him no. And then when he shows me the numbers of our return of investment, I'm like, fine. But I think I started with just the $100 just to be like a Zillow agent. I can't remember. And then we slowly went up a little at a time. But then, the more leads we were getting, the more success we were getting. And then the more buyer's agents we had on our team, we kept kind of adding to the budget because with 5 hungry buyer's agents that are getting a lot of leads and converting a lot of leads, it's really important for us as team leaders to provide value in so many other aspects as team leaders. But obviously leads are one of the values that we give our buyer's agents. And every time we hire a new agent, most people are like, no, I don't have enough leads. Our team's like, no, if you need to hire another agent, go for it. Like, we need help. So we want to make sure we're feeding our agents and we're keeping them happy because we've worked really hard to build this team and be a family together. And it's just worked out really well. So, I mean, it's definitely a lot more now than it was in September 1st when I started my team.
Yeah. Yep. Kendra, what about you?
So I started with 500, I think.
Yeah.
And I did that for a couple of months. And then my Zillow rep, we have the phone call every month that they talk to you about your goals and stuff. And I had these really big goals, but I just really wanted to only spend the 500. And she was like, yeah, it doesn't work that way. She was like, you're going to have to spend more than that. And that just kind of scared me just because of my other experiences with the other lead generation platforms before. Mm-hmm. But she was like, I know it's scary, but look at your conversion. Like, look at how much you've spent and how much you've already, done in return. She was like, it's really simple math. She was like, I know it's really scary, but if you just trust me on it and do it. And I went from the 500 to significantly amount more. Like, it made my stomach hurt. I wanted to throw up a little. Totally worth it. And then some, because for us, my partner and I are both from San Antonio. So we get tons of just referrals just from friends, family, people we know. But you always have to have more than one, lead source. Everybody that we know is not going to want to buy a house in September, right. So we need other, lead sources. And so that was my goal for increasing, the spend for Zillow too. And because we wanted to grow our team. So you've got to have enough to be able to feed your team.
Yep. And Freddie, you've been with us a long time. So do you remember that long ago, like when you started?
Yeah, well, when I started, honestly, it was obviously scary because I had several bad experiences before, and I started scaling. I remember, I think I started about 500, and obviously, my stomach did hurt as well. As I increased the amount, but I noticed that I had to fit in my agents, and I love my agents. My goal is making sure that they even do better than I have, so and I never want them to have any issues with leads. Like right now, one of the issues that we have is like we have too many leads. So from there we start scaling and looking at the numbers, and it makes a lot of sense. Together with the reviews, the follow up. I have some really good agents that they all do pretty well, and with the follow up, that has shown up through the conversion as well. So it's been a little bit scary and everything, but it still makes sense to invest and get the return back.
Great. Thank you. All right. So last question, then we're going to jump to a few questions from the audience. I think that Joffrey's been collecting over there. Can you talk a little bit without, giving the actual number? I don't think anyone needs to know what you guys are spending right now on Zillow, but in terms of the return on investment that you're making back from your advertising spend, can you guys just briefly hit on that? To your comfort level.
I'm going to jump in real quick here too before they do that. We haven't actually had a ton of questions, so you guys must be covering it pretty thoroughly. So if you are watching and want to ask, this is the opportunity. So go ahead and post your question there on Facebook or YouTube, and I'm monitoring it here and be happy to throw it out.
Great. So Tiffany, you want to start?
Sure. So when we ran our numbers from January to July, as a team, our GCI was $257,000. And a lot of that wasn't including DR Horton, because a lot of several of the areas that we're number one in have a lot of DR Horton homes. So we've sold probably at least 10 DR Horton homes at Zillow. Just the first, from January to July, we did 8.58 million in volume that were Zillow leads, 28 closings, with an average sales price of $306,000. So when we ran the numbers, our return of investment is 5.7%. Mm-hmm. And just for the month of August, our team has 19 closings and 9 of those are Zillow.
Okay. All right. Well done there. I can see why you are okay with this spin now. Okay, Kendra, what about you?
So my numbers are not so detailed as Tiffany, but from January, I did through August, my rate of return was 3.68%. Wow. And in August alone, I've had 6 closings and they've been all Zillow.
Okay. So meaning that if you spend $1, you get $3 back for your investment.
Yes.
Or 3 point. Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. That's amazing. Freddie, last but not least.
Man, these ladies are making me feel bad. I'm not such detailed with numbers, but I know that we have closed about 17 transactions, and I have to jump into my paperwork right now. So bad. But 17 transactions so far, and about 20% of the business of this year is pretty much Zillow business. So that's as detailed as I can get. Probably, I don't know. I would say probably we're looking about three or four times more. More or less around there.
Great. Well, thank you all for being detailed on that. I know sometimes that can be a little bit scary to get on here and talk about your spends for advertising, but all right, Joffrey, I'm going to shoot it back over to you. They are live.
Sure. Okay. So Vicky actually asked a couple of different questions. I think we kind of answered the one. She was asking, how are the team members or team leaders paying their team members generally? I know you touched on that a little bit, but I don't know if you want to speak to your splits, or do you charge your agents a higher split if it's a Zillow lead versus if it's their own referral? And does anybody want to comment on that? Something that would be helpful for Vicky?
I can. So we pay for the full budget of Zillow. Our team members don't pay a dime for Zillow. Any closing, it's a 50-50 split for team leads for Zillow. So we take care of all the charges, the monthly fees, all of that stuff. But once it's converted and closed, it's a 50-50 team split.
Great. Cool. And then she also asked, what are your best conversion strategies? So how are you getting such a good ROI as you're getting leads from Zillow?
I can answer that one. I think that one of the most simple ones is the LP Mama, which some people may not be aware of. Just asking. L stands for location, mortgage, if they have an agent, pretty much just walking through, just pretty much going to the motivation of the lead and providing value. I think that, when you get a lead and you just don't think about selling or think about setting the appointment, a lot of times, you have to keep feeding the information. Hey, how much would you like to pay a month? Hey, send in a screenshot of the mortgage calculator, and that will set you apart. Hey, by the way, these are other options that you can look into it. Hey, make sure that you're asking these questions to your lender. Because at the end of the day, yeah, we got them through Zillow, but they may be going through Realtor.com. They may be going through Facebook. So, you just want to set yourself apart. When you do that, people go to Zillow not because they have the most accurate information, in my opinion. They go to Zillow because they provide value. So I always tell my team members, become like Zillow in a way, provide value, and people will come back to you. That has been some of the little tips that I can give you right there.
Thank you. Anybody else on that?
Go ahead, Kendra. Were you going to say something?
No, that was Evan that said something, I think.
Sorry. I was just going to add that for us, we kind of do it a little differently. For us, we're big into finding some type of relationship component to make us relate to them, being very relatable on the phone, making a quick joke, just talking about your kids, just trying to ask questions to find some type of compatibility. And then we set the appointment and try to meet them face to face as soon as possible. So we don't always go into the lending questions. Sometimes we'll ask if they're pre-approved. We always ask, did you just start looking for homes? Have you been looking for a while, to kind of figure out if they have an agent and let them know that we don't want to step on anyone's toes if they have an agent, and kind of explain that relationship to them. But our goal is just to connect with them, find something, that we're compatible with, and then try to meet them face to face as soon as possible.
I do what Tiffany does, and then I also will send them, because you have your own set aside phone number with Zillow, and so when you're texting back and forth, it's through that Zillow number. So a lot of times after I get off the phone, I will send them a follow-up text and tell them, hi, this is my personal cell phone number now that we've talked, and I feel we have a good relationship, and then I'll send them a picture of my business card. And people seem to feel special that they have your personal phone number versus a business phone number. So I found that works pretty well.
Very good.
And just one thing I'll add, just from a Zillow perspective, from the data that we've been gathering the past couple years, the new consumer, I would say, like the consumer that's out there today, A lot of times they want, because of Amazon, because of Uber, because of all these things that spoil us and give us instant gratification. I think it's very, very important to, on that first phone call, give the consumer what they want, which, as we all know, is to get and see the house that they're inquiring on. So even if they can't see that house, give them the gratification of saying, great, I'm going to look into that and try to schedule that appointment for you. Is there any other homes in the neighborhood that you would want to look at? What neighborhoods are you looking at? What's your price point? But giving them something on that first phone call to feel like that they're winning and getting something immediately. So that's just the last thing that I would add.
Amy Wander asks, what is your conversion rate? How many Zillow leads actually convert to closings? And I don't know, because I'm not a team member, I don't know how that actually works. So I don't know if you guys can speak to that.
For our live connections, those are the ones that we mainly track. We're at a 1 out of every 8 conversion rate. I believe the average Zillow agent's 1 at 10 or 11. But running our team numbers for the live phone calls, we convert usually 1 out of every 8 live phone calls.
That's great. That's fantastic.
Very good. Anybody else on that?
Tiffany's great with her numbers, so I don't
I was going to say.
I don't have my numbers. I just know every time when I talk to my Zillow rep on the phone every month, she always says that I'm above what the average, person is for their conversion. But that's all I know. I don't know the specifics.
Ready?
See, Lauren, my rep's the one that always gives me my number. She's really good. Her and my husband.
We need to switch reps.
Yeah. So I can say from a national average standpoint, and again, we don't mandate that any agent claims their sales. So it's very possible that some sales fly under the radar, but the ones we're able to track, our national average is around 5% on connections, 5 to 6%. And around 2% on what we call nurture leads, which is the bonus leads that you get that are not live connections, but still people that filled out a contact form and submitted that. So all 3 of these agents are rock stars and converting highly above what the average agent converts.
All right. Well, I don't have any further kind of Zillow related questions. There's some general team ones here, and you guys are welcome to take a look at those on the chat and respond to those. But I thought maybe what I would ask is, as we wrap things up, if I'm an agent, maybe I just started a team or an individual agent, what would be your advice, since you guys have been through this, on maybe dipping my toe in the sand, the Jello, the water? I don't know.
Not Jello.
Jello.
I don't know. I'm just throwing out a new element out there just to see what happens.
I like the Jello.
No, but yeah, I mean, if I said, all right, if you're my coach, what should I do to get started making money through Zillow?
I can answer that one. Right.
Literally not all at once. Go ahead, Freddie. I heard your voice first.
Okay. Well, I think you were asking 2 things, right? How do you get started with Zillow, and how you build a team? Was that the question that you were asking? I want to make sure that.
Yeah, I guess how would I build team revenue through Zillow? Maybe I'll kind of combine it with that.
Well, obviously, if you're going to invest on Zillow, you have to be willing to pick up your phone. Answer the phone. I always tell the guys, sometimes, we can get so much training and everything, but, the whole idea is picking up the phone. Because otherwise it doesn't matter how many leads you get. The leads are not the problem most of the time. It's us. It's because obviously we need to be, sharpen the tools a little bit better. Second, if I understood the other part of the question, if you're gonna build a team and get it like where all these ladies have it, I still think that I don't have it the way that I want it, but you know what? It seems like they do. It's not that easy. You're gonna have to have the choice either to join a team or build a team, but it's not as easy as it seems to have a team and investing on Zillow and getting all these leads and getting all this revenue. It takes a lot of work. I'm sure a lot of us, we have all the tools as well that we have to invest in order to have a support, the admin behind. So it's costly and it's scary. I can say it in my end. It's scary because, I always tell my team, hey, if you guys don't make a check, perfect. You don't make anything. I don't get a check. I get a minus check every month, which means that regardless if we produce or don't, we still have to pay. So, it's way different, having a business than just seeing as as commission only. So hopefully that answers part of the question.
Yeah, and I was going to tell our viewers too. Freddie was on the show. I meant to mention this earlier. Freddie was on the show. I don't know, maybe 4 months ago or something like that. And he did a whole show on his own, talking about kind of how he started building a team. A lot about coaching. So if you want a good education there from a very practical standpoint, go ahead and go to fathomcareers.com/live, and you'll find that in our show library. For sure. And somebody even asked, how do I watch the replay when we're done here? If you want to head over to YouTube, you can watch the rest of this show as well in replay. But anybody else on that, as far as, if you were coaching somebody to get started making money through Zillow, either as an individual or a team, what would you say?
I think it's really important you have to answer the phone. You're wasting money if you're not answering the phone. So for me, when I was just on my own for a month before starting the team, I was so nervous because I'm like, if I'm in a listing appointment, I'm not going to answer my phone. Like, you know what I mean? If I'm with buyers, I'm not going to answer my phone. So one good thing that I think our team does is, like, if I'm at a listing appointment, we have a team thread and just say, hey, can someone be on Zillow watch the next hour? I'm going to be out of pocket. And so we're all constantly communicating to where our answer rate's like, I think 95%, because if you can't answer the phone, you're going to be wasting money.
Good, great advice.
I totally agree with that. If you're not willing to answer your phone, don't invest in Zillow. Zillow's totally worth it. You just have to be willing to work. And so for me, because I don't have the big team, what I did was I hired a virtual assistant. And so when the Zillow call rings, my phone rings, but her phone rings too. And it's whoever answers first. And I just did that because I have kids. I could be in a parent-teacher conference, or if I'm in a listing appointment or showing houses, I'm not going to answer my phone. But I don't want that lead to be wasted because I couldn't answer the phone. So for me, having that other person answer the phone, like, that solved my problem.
Awesome. Yep. Awesome. Anything else? Any last words? That's all the questions that I have here. There's some more questions. I'll let you guys jump on and answer them if you want to in the feed there, just because they're a little bit specific. But anything else, guys?
No, that's it for me. Just thank you again for bringing me on again. I really appreciate it. Any questions that you guys have, if it's possible, Jeffrey, if you'll just throw that link out there. I think we got a handful of questions last time, and I wanted to make sure that they were all answered.
Yeah.
So people have questions for me.
Yeah, both on YouTube and Facebook. The link's on there in the comments. So
Perfect.
Feel free to navigate to that, and you guys can ask. It'll go to you directly, correct? In fact, somebody even asked, can that person from Zillow help me get set up? And so you can put that in the question box, and I'm sure Evan will be happy to direct you where you need to go on that. But yeah, everybody, guys, I know it was time out of your day, and you're obviously very busy people, and time is money. So thank you so much for jumping on here. And I hope our viewers got an education watching people in the thick of it doing business through this revenue stream. So, well, I'll let you guys go. But as we close here, next month is Real Estate Safety Month. So we're going to be featuring some guests regarding real estate safety. So I'm looking forward to that. We do have a slot to fill on that one. So if you do know somebody that's a great real estate safety trainer, let us know, and we will interview them potentially to be on the show. So that would be great. Again, thanks for watching. We'll see you the first Wednesday of next month. See you then.